Hello everybody and welcome back to Time of the Whovians United. Today, got a different video guest. Today we are discussing all the different eras of Doctor Who, from the ITD era all the way up to the Chibnall era.
Hello, I'm James Shaw. I also run a YouTube channel and I'm going to be discussing all of New Who with Corey today. Thanks for having me, Corey.
You are very welcome, mate. You're very, very welcome. So, from what I gather from your channel, you do, a lot of different things, but you're mostly a vlog channel, aren't you? Would you like to explain a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I started as a vlog channel. I was called James's Vlogs originally.
Yeah.
And I solely uploaded vlogs. But as I've got older, I find myself doing less vlogs and more everything, really. I've done discussion videos about Doctor Who. I do live streams after the new episodes of Doctor Who when they're on.
Yes, of course. So, starting off with the RTD era, undoubtedly, among fans, considered the golden era of Doctor Who. I think that's quite an obvious thing to say, because I think for a lot of people the ITD era is the golden era of Doctor Who, where obviously you got David Tennant, obviously RTD, and a lot of, for some people, the best stories we've ever had. What would you say about that? Would you agree or disagree?
I would wholeheartedly agree.
Oh yes.
I got into Doctor Who actually quite late in the Russell T Davies era. I didn't start watching Doctor Who until series 4.
Oh, really?
Wow. And I went back and caught up. So although we're the same age, I'm imagining that you probably watched it from early on.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. So the first time that I got into Doctor Who, it was Voyage of the Damned.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And someone told me, I can't remember who, someone told me that it was a good Christmas special. And I watched it, and I thought it was good. Didn't get particularly sucked into it, I just thought it was good, cool. And a few months later, I don't know if you probably will remember this if you're the same age, but I was on holiday and a volcano in Iceland erupted.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
It was just as I started secondary school, and I got stuck in Tenerife.
Oh my god, yeah.
And we couldn't get back, and we went on holiday for like 10 days, and we ended up being there for like 25 days, something like that. Something crazy. We were there for ages, and we couldn't physically get back because none of the planes were flying.
Yeah, because it was the ash cloud, wasn't it? It erupted, a massive ash cloud blew over, didn't it? Yeah.
Exactly,
I remember that.
Yeah, and we couldn't get back, and I became very interested in volcanoes through that. And,
wow, yeah.
Yeah, and when we got back, my friend said to me, there's literally just been an episode of Doctor Who that's been on about a volcano erupting. Obviously it was the fires of Pompeii.
Yeah,
so I came back off holiday, and I remember watching that episode, and that's where I started getting interested. I think I must have gone back and watched Partners in Crime, and by the time that episode 3 was on, I was completely hooked. I remember going around to my friend's house and watching that Ood episode. What's it called? I can't even remember what it's called. I should know this.
Planet of the Ood. Yeah,
Planet of the Ood. Yeah, I was absolutely obsessed by that point. And by the time that the end of series 4 came about, I was catching up on Who. I knew that there were rumours about Rose coming back. I was catching up on Rose.
Yeah.
I watched the series 2 finale, I remember, before the series 4 finale, and I was absolutely hooked by that point. And then I think I must have, just over the next year or so, gone back and watched the complete back catalogue of Russell T Davies Doctor Who. But I was a late adopter. I didn't get into it until that point.
All right, that's fair enough. See, you are right. I did get into Doctor Who from the very beginning. But the way my memory serves it, and I'm pretty certain on this because I always go with this story, I don't think I started on Rose. I think I was 2 stories too late. I think my earliest memory is from The Unquiet Dead, and I always say that I started watching from The Unquiet Dead because that's the first one I remember, and I'm pretty certain of that. And yeah, the So what happened basically was, my dad was in the army, so we lived in Germany at the time. Believe it or not, I was in Germany.
Blimey.
I know that's in 2005 we were living in Germany, and I turned the TV on, and then Doctor Who was on BBC One, and I'm like, what on earth's this? And my parents come in and go, oh my god, Doctor Who's back on TV. Oh my god, that's crazy that. And I'm thinking, what's Doctor Who? What's going on? What's this? And they told me all about it. And I watched it, and obviously, what an episode to start on. Unquiet Dead for me as a kid. Scary. Absolutely.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I know. But
because how old would you have been at this point? You would have been
6.
7, 6, 7 years.
So I was 6, turning 7. So what a story to start on as a 6-year-old child, and yet it was potentially that one that got me into it. That's the one that got me hooked, and
really?
Watching every single week. Yeah. And the way I remember this is that from that point, we had a computer, and I went on the computer and I did all my research about Doctor Who, and I'm pretty certain by the finale, I knew what regeneration was. I got the concept, and I looked into the classic era as well.
Right.
However, I still wasn't expecting Christopher Eccleston to regenerate at that point. So
I was just going to ask you that. I didn't know whether you. So you didn't know that was going to happen, but you knew that regeneration was a thing. So if anything,
I think so. That's what I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty certain, because this is the thing. You see, it's really hard to try and track down. When you started to know a lot, because
I don't remember. Yeah,
because for me, all I've ever known is Doctor Who. That's the thing. That's all I've ever known.
Yeah, of course.
Ever since I was 6 years old, and I don't know when there was that point when I started to really, maintain that knowledge, and but I'm pretty certain I knew about regeneration and the Master. I think by that point, I knew about it anyway.
Okay.
But I didn't even expect it. And this is the thing. This was the days where there was internet. But me as a 6-year-old kid, I'm not really going to be on there and seeing the news at all. And I don't think I even saw the news about Christopher Eccleston even, stepping down. So for me, that was quite an experience. And obviously, we then got David Tennant.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So okay. In the RTD era, all right. Who's the better Doctor? Is it Christopher Eccleston or is it David Tennant?
I think for me, I know it sounds so cliche now. It didn't used to. I feel that the more time that Doctor Who's been on, David Tennant is just it's the eye-rolly answer to say who is your favourite Doctor. But he was my favourite Doctor. I mean, he was my first Doctor, firstly, but he was and still is my favourite Doctor. Maybe partly because it was when I was a kid that he was the Doctor. Obviously, like I said, I started with him and went back to Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah.
And I mean, Christopher Eccleston was great. Don't get me wrong. I still think he is a great Doctor. But for me, I just think David Tennant, he's just got that edge to Christopher Eccleston. He's just funny and it's like moments like in the Christmas Invasion when he's saying like, what kind of man am I? Well, and he says like sexy, and he winks at Rose, and that just captivates exactly what the 10th Doctor is.
I'll tell you what, the moment from the Christmas Invasion that my dad always remembers, and it's the moment where he goes, it's when he grows the hand back.
Yeah.
And he goes, this hand? It's a fighting hand.
Yeah.
And he remembers that every single time. That's his one moment. Dad always remembers the fighting hand scene. Yeah. Every time about David Tennant.
Yeah.
Every single time.
I'd say David Tennant is the best.
Yeah.
But they're both so good. I wouldn't say there's much in it at all. And the only thing really that for me puts a bit of a sour taste in my mouth to do with Christopher Eccleston is his attitude towards Doctor Who since he was the Doctor. I just think it's been such a shame that he's been sort of so against talking about it, and really he's so jaded by it. Whatever happened, I don't know, but he's so jaded by it that I just think that's such a shame, because his series was so good. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy both of them, don't get me wrong, but if I had to pick one, David Tennant.
Yeah. Now, for much like anybody, to be fair, David Tennant was my favourite for a very long time. And I felt it was a very difficult situation with Christopher Eccleston, because you can't really judge him because he's only had one series, but then you can't really. But then it's very hard to say he's the best when he's only had one series. It's very hard to what to do with him. But for a very very long time it was David Tennant, and then a particular other actor. I decided actually I actually thought he deserves the jump. He can take the first place. I'm not going to say who it is till later on.
Okay, interesting.
But it gets you thinking who it might be.
Question for you.
Yeah.
If you're talking about one series, it's hard to judge Christopher Eccleston off of one series.
Yeah.
I wonder whether people's opinions would be the same if David Tennant only stayed for series 2.
I wonder.
Because I think series 2 is the weakest of Russell T Davies's Doctor Who. And I don't know whether he would be as good a Doctor. Or people. I don't think people would maybe see him as the best Doctor if he just had series 2.
I think you've got a very good point there, because this is something that I say a lot, is you can see the change in development in David Tennant from every series. From 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Yeah. He's a different person every time. Yeah. Now, had we been stuck with his series 2 version, with having that relationship with Rose, of course. I think for a lot of people, again, that's a very a divisive thing. There's people that hate it, there's people that love it, of course, that relationship between those two. But I do think, if he had stayed only for series 2, I think it would be probably very different, because we wouldn't have seen that change or that development, and we'd only got the sole David Tennant, 10th Doctor, that had that awkward relationship with Rose.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
But as I was saying, so David Tennant was my favourite, and then somebody else overtook him. Okay. But the more I think about it, and the more I hear about Christopher's situation, the more I want to, because I do love him. I do love him. I do think he is one of the best Doctors we've ever had. I would say. So, talking about series, you said that series 2 would be your weakest. How would you actually rank the 4 series? How would they go?
I think I would have to say that 4 is the best.
Okay.
I'd probably then... I'd say probably 4, 1, 3, 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I do feel that as much as I do really like series 3, I'm not a massive fan of the finale of it.
Oh really? Okay.
I think it's probably the weakest finale out of Russell T Davies's finale, even including the end of time, I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
But other than that, and I've read quite a lot about this, where Freema, who plays Martha, I know that she's spoken out and said that she's not quite in favour of how Martha was written, because she just kind of pined after the Doctor the entire time.
Oh yeah.
And I feel that the stories in series 3 I think are great. I love the Shakespeare Code. I mean, Gridlock was an episode that I used to not like when I was younger.
Oh really?
But when I watch Gridlock now, it's just such a good episode when they all sing at the end, and I feel that
abide with me.
Oh, and the bit when the Doctor tells Martha at the end about Gallifrey and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That moments like that I didn't appreciate as a kid. And now I just think, that was such a good episode. And I mean, I even like the Dalek 2-parter, which I know quite a lot of people don't like in series 3.
No, I do.
I think that's quite underrated, really. Like I say, the only thing really that I'm not keen on about series 3 is the finale. Whereas in series 2, I do feel that there are a fair few episodes that are quite weak. Even starting with New Earth, I think is quite a weak story, and it's not an episode that I go back to often, just because of that. It just doesn't make me want to watch it. So I'd say 4, 1, 3, 2.
Okay. I am very similar in some aspects.
Okay.
But no, I would go series 1, series 3, Series 4, then Series 2. Again, this is something I've had a lot of time to think about, because I've always known that Series 1 would be the best one. I've always known that one. But it's always between 4 and 3. But I've started to have a lot more appreciation of Series 3. In particular, the arc itself. How clever and how well designed it was, the whole Harold Saxon, because it started way back in Series 2 in Love and Monsters. In Love and Monsters,
yes, there's a poster, isn't there?
On Victor Kennedy's newspaper, there's the Saxon on there. So so way back in there. So, and obviously how it all, it's how well it was crafted and how it was implemented throughout the stories, and how it all led up to that point. I just thought it's very, very clever, and how that, much like Series 1. How nearly every story had something to do with the overall arc, So, for example, like obviously you had Human Nature, Family of Blood that introduced the Chameleon Arch, of course, for example, and that was a vital piece of the puzzle for the finale, for example. And then 4 is a fan favourite. Everybody says 4 is their favourite, and again for good reason. It is got some of the greatest stories we've ever had. Midnight, Turn Left, Silence and Library 2-parter, for example, and then you got the specials, Waters of Mars.
Oh, but Waters of Mars.
I know.
Do you want to hear a controversial opinion?
Go on, we love some controversial opinions.
I've never been that much of a fan of Turn Left.
Ooh,
and okay. I did Ace Creeper's charity live stream.
Oh, did you?
A few years ago. And,
okay, brilliant.
And I said that, and I got the same response. I
can imagine.
I don't know what it is. I think it's partly because when I was younger, I didn't find that story that interesting. I felt that it was for when I was that age, I wasn't interested in the sort of parallel Earths and all this sort of almost like a multiverse kind of narrative. Yeah. I wonder whether if I watched it for the first time now, whether I would appreciate it more. Because when I watched it back in the day, I didn't like Midnight either. I thought Midnight was quite a boring episode. Obviously, I've grown to really like that episode over the years. But Turn Left has never been one that's changed for me. And for a very similar reason, I know we're not getting into Moffat yet, but Amy's Choice, for the same reason. Those two episodes, they're quite similar, really, when you think about the fact that they're sort of a different universe and stuff. And I don't like either of them. So out of Series 4, as much as I love Series 4, I can't really think of an episode that I don't like other than Turn Left. And it's not that I hate it. It's just it's just the worst of a really, really top tier series, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. So if I would love to try and change your mind, if I could try my best here, is George made a video about Turn Left, about alternate realities. We're gonna plug that video right now for everybody else at home to go and watch as well. But if you'd like to give it a watch, George gives you his spin on it and a sort of like a review of it. And you never know, it might not change your mind, but I just thought it was a very good opportunity to plug the video in there, because why not?
Yeah, I'll give it a watch. It might change my mind.
Give it a go. So you were talking about obviously some favourite and some least favourite stories. Which stories to you comes to mind as being the best? We'll start best. So what comes to mind as like the best stories for the RTD era? Which ones comes to mind?
There's a lot. I really, really love the RTD era. I would say, if I'm trying to visualize in my head one story per series, just as a rough guide for me, I would say that
we'll do that. One per series.
Many.
We'll go
there's
one per
so
series.
many. I mean, in series 1, it would be a really tight one between Dalek and Father's Day.
Ooh! I'll tell you, George really likes Father's Day. He thinks it's very underrated. He would agree with you there.
It's such a good episode. And every time I watch it, it's in a weird way, it it's like emotional to watch. I find it's a hard watch, and that's why I do like that one. Dalek is good as well, but I think I like Dalek more for the fact that it just did such a good job of introducing the Daleks.
Oh yes, it did.
I think if I
really
had to pick one, I probably would pick Father's Day. You know.
Okay. All right. I'll go next then. So
okay, go on.
Yeah, we'll go one at a time for each series.
Yeah, okay.
Now, for me, it's always been this one in particular. Again, I'll plug another video. So a video from last year. Why Doctor Who should be scary. I find a lot of the best stories in Doctor Who tend to be the ones that are scary or darker ones, or have that sort of atmosphere and music.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, this stuck with me for, well, I don't know how many years, and it is, in fact, The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, because of many reasons, of course. One, I just think it's just a brilliant, phenomenal concept that was well scripted, well directed, well produced. It is scary, of course. Absolutely scary. The music is on point, the atmosphere is great. You get the introduction of Captain Jack, and at the end, you get that brilliant line, "Everybody lives, Rose. Just this once. Everybody lives." Because, and I'm going to talk about this in another video coming up, but for me, and I realised this, I think that moment for the Ninth Doctor literally is the first moment that nobody has died yet since the Time War. If you think about the stories, you're right. Honestly, from Rose all the way up to that story, somebody has died, somebody has paid the price. And since, and obviously chronologically, if series 1's after the Time War, it's the first moment no one's died because of him. And that moment for me is so powerful.
You're right. I've never thought about it like that.
I know, I didn't realise it either, and I just thought, oh my god, yes. And it's such a great wrap-up of the whole story itself.
Yeah.
And if I'd have to, go for a close second, it would be the finale. The finale, Christopher Eccleston's, last story. Great. That's probably the one. That is the best written the Daleks have been for me. I'm gonna say their best story in New Who. Absolutely, definitely. But for me, series 1 is so great. There's so many stories in there, and it would be hard to rank them. In order from favourite to least
there's only
favourite.
There's only one episode that I'm not a massive fan on. Series 1, and my girlfriend is the complete opposite. She loves the episode, and it's The Long Game. The Long Game,
everybody says that. I don't mind it. I think it's fine. I think it's just a fun little episode. You get a good, because actually they tried it and it worked pretty well, and George likes to talk about this. It's the failed companion, the companion that failed, and that's fine. It's always good to have that failed companion just to show what they shouldn't be or what they shouldn't become.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
But why do you like it then? What's your reasons for not liking it?
What, The Long Game?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, it might be the same problem with Turn Left, where it is just the weakest of a really good lineup of episodes. I haven't got a problem with Adam, because I don't mind him in Dalek. It's just that I don't know. It just feels a bit naff. But then also, it is there for a reason. Obviously, you're introduced to Satellite 5 in the episode.
Of course, you are.
Stuff like that.
Yes.
So it does have a purpose. But as a standalone story, I just find it the one. If I had to go to one episode in series 1, it would probably be my last choice to watch out of all of them, I would say.
Okay. I think it is my least favourite, to be fair. But that's just least favourite because it's not as good as every other one. But you've got Simon Pegg. You've got Simon Pegg in there as the editor.
True.
That's cool. That is cool. Okay, so Series 2. Where would you go for the best and the worst for Series 2?
I'm trying to think which ones I like. I'm going to get up a list.
I can go first because I've got some that go straight to mind.
Yeah, go on. You say yours.
The two that come to mind straight away, it's the two-parter as well, apart from the finale. So you've got the Cybermen two-parter. I get my favourite, apart from World Enough and Time, favourite Cybermen story of New Who, definitely. Yeah, even though they are, you know, the robotic Cybermen and they stomp everywhere, and not a lot of people like that. I think just the whole story, how they're introduced and how, you know, how they're created, and the whole because there's something that Doctor Who hasn't done very much before, is that whole conversion. You know, because before in the classic era, they're all about, you know, they're gonna enforce the upgrade on you. But they never get to the point where they actually enforce it. They're all about, yes, we're all going to upgrade you, but they never actually really get to that point. You know, the Doctor stops them. You know, the closest you kind of got was like the invasion, because the Cybermen kind of like knocked everybody out, and then they invaded the Earth. And then had the Doctor not have intervened, there probably would have been some kind of conversion process going on. But they've always gone, you know, you've got no choice. This is what's going to happen. But they never get the chance to actually put people through it. Whereas here, it happens, and it's so scary, so shocking it is. And the way it's directed and scripted is brilliant.
Oh, go on. You say your other bit. There's a scene in that Cyberman two-parter that I think is really chilling. Where the song In the Jungle, the Mighty Jungle plays, and it goes through the factories, and you hear like all the screaming and stuff. Yeah, that is a creepy sequence.
Yeah. Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Another one as well is when the Doctor and Mrs. Moore is walking in like the catacombs, and they go, "Did that one move?"
Yeah.
And, just the light, just the shadows, and then they all start to move and step out, and that's just The other one is The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. That, for me, yes, is another contender as well. I think that's brilliant. You know, the whole thing with the beast possessing the Ood, and how creepy and scary it is, how it all builds up with tension, and the whole mystery about how they're being able to orbit a black hole. I think that's so fascinating, and I love it. I really do. And obviously, it separates the Doctor from everybody else. So, you know, Rose is going to step up and take charge. Or, you know, when everybody else is struggling and trying to motivate everybody else. And it just creates like a completely different dynamic. And I know it might be slow at start to try to, you know, to introduce the whole story and get everything established, but I just love that. I just love how it takes its time to establish, you know, where they are, what's going off, what the problem is. And then once the beast is there, and you know the Ooze being possessed, going on to part 2, that's where all the action starts to really happen. And again, also the choice at the end the Doctor has to make, the choice, you know, let the beast live and escape, or destroy him at the risk of, you know, losing Rose. Much a bit like, you know, World War III. He had a choice.
Okay,
so
I've got a list up, and I know instantly which is the best. I didn't even need to look at a list really, but
go on then.
The Girl in the Fireplace.
Go on. Ooh,
it's such a good episode, and I would say it's kind of for the same reason as Father's Day, really, where it just hits a nerve. I find it's such a good episode, and when I was a kid, I would watch these episodes, and when there was like a sort of a companion for the episode, like Madame de Pompadour is for this episode, I didn't think in terms of the actual the production of the TV show, and I was genuinely convinced that she was gonna become a companion. It didn't occur to me that maybe she wouldn't be. It was the same with Kylie Minogue in Voyage of the Damned. I would watch it and I would think, oh, she's gonna, and she doesn't, and it's just such a good episode. I love Rose and Mickey in it.
Yeah.
You've got the whole gag with you can't bring the horse, I let you take Mickey. And she's so good as well. And obviously David Tennant and the actor who played her dated for a little bit, I think, after the episode.
Yes.
And you can see that in the episode.
Yes.
You can see
So
you can
Miles.
see their connection, and that it's that sort of that chemistry that actors have off camera can sometimes translate on camera, and it makes it better.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that episode.
Yeah,
I can't find many things to fault about that episode.
Who at home thinks that Madame de Pompadour should have become a companion in the TARDIS? Put your comments down below. Who thinks that should have happened? Because if that did happen, that would have got a bit
very
awkward for Rose. That would have got. Well, no, actually, no. It would have got awkward for the Doctor, because then he had like, two people, pulling at him. Of course. And then there's actually no. Tell a lie. No. It would be more awkward for Mickey to watch that happen.
Yeah.
Stood on the side.
Because the Doctor's got both
from
of them.
afar.
And he's just got no one.
Yeah, exactly. That would be more awkward for him. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yes, a lot of people's issue with that is just the fact that, he's got Rose on the side, and then he can't decide what he wants, Rose or Madame de Pompadour, and then he leaves Rose and Mickey stranded for Madame de Pompadour, of course, but I do think it's a very solid, and it is one of the better ones. Okay. Any of the ones that strike you as the worst? I think we both
know what we're going to say is the worst. I mean, I'll be surprised if you don't say it.
I know what you're thinking, and I know what... However, the one you're probably thinking of, I've got a lot more love for it, and I'll explain why. But I'm going to say that, I don't know. There are a couple that it could be. I'm going to say fear her. I'm going to say fear her. I'm going to say fear her.
I would say Love and Monsters.
What would you say?
Yeah.
I know you would say that.
But fear her isn't far behind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The reason why I like Love and Monsters is just the fact that it got me in love with my favourite band of all time.
Yeah, okay.
And that was the ELO. Honestly, that is it, because I heard them on the radio one day. I was like, that sounds strangely familiar. And I was like, oh yeah, Doctor Who. And I looked up ELO, and then from that point onwards, I have not looked back. And to be fair, I don't think the Absorbloff is that bad. It's probably the weaker part of the story, maybe, but it's not that bad. It's a fun little idea they tried, and after all, a kid designed that much. Alright, moving on to Series 3 then. Series 3. Any that strike you as being the very best of Series 3?
I would say...
What would you say?
That's a tough one again, and it's a tough one for a different reason. Because Series 3 is a really good series. Let me... I can't... I was going to try and get up a list again, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. In fact, can I? Go on.
I will say... Okay, I will go straight away off it. Human Nature, the Family of Blood.
I think I would agree. Yeah, I think I would.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I find it fascinating, the whole idea that the Doctor can change himself into human, and they would have a normal life as a human, and I love how, the whole Time Lord stuff kind of leaks through in his dreams, and again, I love the Family of Blood, how they possess people, and how creepy and weird they are. I just love it, and I just love how it's the majority of the story. It's John Smith, not the Doctor, and it's about him, coming to terms with that. And I just love it, and the scarecrows are iconic as well, and the music it has as well. The way it's directed is brilliant. Another one, Utopia, as a favourite of George's as well. Utopia. The first part, because you get, Derek Jacobi as Professor Garner / the Master, and that's the best Master reveal for me, in my opinion, the very, very best. And no matter how many times I see that reveal, it gets me every time. The chills are there, the goosebumps are there. Always feel that one every time, because you know it's coming, but you still feel the energy from it. What would you say?
Did you
agree, didn't you?
Utopia is a good choice. I'd probably agree with you about Human Nature and the Family of Blood, though. It's just such a good two-parter, and every time I watch it, I just think that it's just so good. I don't know what more I can say about it other than it is just so good. Particularly if I had to pick a scene that is particularly good, I would say it's the scene where the Doctor goes into the spaceship pretending to be a human, and then the Family of Blood throws something at him, and he catches. He's like, and he instantly switches, even though it's the same guy, the same accent. You can tell the difference between the Doctor and John Smith, and it's
Yeah.
that bit. You just can't not smile at
can.
that. I don't think. As soon as you hear it, you're like, yeah, he's back.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. Okay, then. What's the worst, then? Which is the worst? Oh, the least favourite, sorry. The least favourite of Series 3. Least favourite. I would go and say the Lazarus Experiment. I would say that. Not bad. It's not really even to do with the fact that it's the CGI either.
Yeah.
I think the whole concept is really good, and the way it's produced and directed is really good. I think, like you said, it's such a good season that the rest are just better. It's just, it just happens to be the bottom of the pile, I suppose. It's by no means bad at all. What would you say?
You know what?
What would you say is
I was gonna
your
say
least favourite?
42.
Oh no!
But I'd
Go
probably agree with you with the Lazarus Experiment. Actually, 42. I don't think it's. I
Save
still
yourself
don't think
there.
it's a great episode, especially with the Chibnall era. I think a lot of the problems that people have with the Chibnall era are present as early as 42.
Okay.
But I would probably say Lazarus Experiment. I'm not. But I know The Unquiet Dead is a great story. And I absolutely respect that it's your first episode and you love it. And I enjoy it as well. But I don't feel that the majority of Mark Gatiss' stories are that good. Starting with the Lazarus Experiment.
I do think The Unquiet Dead is the best of Mark Gatiss' stories. I would say that. Yes, I would say that they are the best. Yes. But
yeah, so I'd agree with you with Lazarus. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, 42. We did a review on 42 last year, and I was stood there defending the best I could, because I do like it a lot. I do like the villain itself. I do like the whole space politics, how they took something and they have to give it back, and it's possessing the crew to try and get it back. And it's the heart of a son, of course. And I love how it's against the clock, and it's against time and the whole real time element. And the music's great, of course. But I do see why some people might not like it. Okay, and then on to Series 4. We'll go with Series 4 and the specials together then. So loads to choose from. The best and worst from there. The best and worst.
Okay. Best Water Mars.
Water Mars? Yep.
Although if it was just Series 4, I'd probably say... probably Journey's End, maybe. There's a lot of good episodes in Series 4 though. But let's group them together. Water Mars. Do you want to say worst, or do you want to say your best?
I would agree with Waters of Mars, but if it was Series 4, I would say Silence in the Library. I would say. And The Forest of the Dead.
Oh, that's a good episode. See, that's the trouble. When you get into Series 4, it makes it difficult. It does make it difficult. Because there are a lot of good episodes in Series 4.
There is, and I don't think there is necessarily a bad one. Not necessarily, no. So then,
I agree.
So then for the worst then, what would be the worst? For Series 4, and maybe as a whole thing, where would you go?
For mine, even if I included the specials, it would still be the same. Turn left.
Okay, fair enough. If, for me, including the specials, probably Planet of the Dead. Probably, including the specials. Probably Planet of the Dead. If we wasn't including the specials, that's a difficult one. That is a difficult one. If we wasn't including the specials, it's a hard one, because there's not really a bad one in there, is there really? I might have to pass
not
on
really.
That one. I don't know actually. I don't know.
Fair enough. You're allowed to part. You're the host. You can make the rules.
Yes, they are my rules. So we've got 3 more minutes till 9 o'clock, so we're going to end the video there. It's been great to have you, James. It's been great to discuss. So if you don't know or I've never seen James' channel, feel free to go and subscribe onto his channel. Great things on there, great Doctor Who content, vlog videos, a lot of different things on there. Has those little, live streams, for games and things like that. Fun little nights, and go and subscribe for all those things. Yeah, you're welcome, you're welcome. If you like this video, give a nice big like and, comment. What are your favourite series? How would you rank the series? What are your favourite stories? Put all that down in the comments below. And most importantly, subscribe to keep up to date with all our latest videos. Thank you for so much for watching, guys. We shall see you next time. See ya!